Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel for a Game Week 17 preview. Today, I'm joined by FPL expert FPL Salah, who's going to be giving us some key tips and advice for the upcoming game week. It's a game week, Abdul, where a lot of us have been hit by a plethora of flags. So first of all, how are you doing, mate? Pleasure to have you back on as always. And secondly, give the people a rundown. What is the current injury situation looking like?
Well, I think overall, I mean, we've had injuries. Obviously, we all know about the HAALAND injury. We don't know if he's going to be back this game week. I guess we're going to have to find out in Pep Guardiola's press conference. Yesterday, in the Champions League game, Anthony Gordon and Kieran Trippier came off with like knocks. So obviously, Trippier suspended anyway, so for game week 17, so it's not really a big deal for owners. It's going to be bench anyway. But from what I've seen from Eddie Howe, what he said about Gordon was that he had an awareness of something in his hamstring. So he didn't see he was injured, just said that he couldn't play at full speed and that he thought it was better to take him off because he couldn't play at to his best ability. So I think it was also just, it looks like a precaution. So it does look like he's probably going to, his favourite to make it for the weekend, but we never know. So again, just going to have to wait until the end of the week. But I think those are the main ones in terms of injuries during midweek.
Okay, good stuff. Now, before we have a look at how those injuries and flags potentially affect your transfers this week, Abdul, let's have a look back at the previous week. A pretty solid green arrow. You've been asking for it for a while. This was decent, right?
Yeah, it was good. It was one of the biggest green arrows I've had since the wild card, so like almost 200k green. But it was a weird one, Jack, because look, only two of my players returned, which was Son and Salah, and Salah got obviously the vice captain from HAALAND missing out. Nobody else returned, so I mean, it was weird. The reason for that is because Son is actually only owned by 40% of managers.
Yeah,
and obviously with the vice captain going Salah as well, there's really been a lot of managers who didn't pay attention to their vice captain, etc. So that's where obviously my kind of rank gain came from. But it was just odd that only two players returned. But I had one of my best game weeks of the season.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I guess that's how the game can go. Honestly, your defense, although everyone blanked, it's actually pretty good scores across the board when you have a look at the Newcastle effective ownership and how many points the likes of Trippier and Lascelles and my team got. You're actually getting really an assist in effect over the likes of a Saliba or Gabriel or Pinnock there. So yeah, a weird week. The outstanding player of the week was, of course, Heung-min Son. Do we have to get him into our teams now? Is it just essential? Like, he's still, as you say, pretty low owned. Under half the game own him. Does he have to come in?
I'll be honest, I was quite surprised. I always check like the ownership of my players, but I still seen him at 40%. I'm thinking like, why? Like, obviously it was his price has fallen like by about 0.2 in the last 4 weeks because of his recent blanks. But look, he's a talisman for Spurs. He's going to get their goal, and we know now he's a penalty taker as well. Jack, he took the penalty. I guess we all kind of knew that, but at least it's been confirmed now. Yeah. I just think he's a player that, after HAALAND and Salah, he is the best FPL asset that we have in the game. And even though he's going away to AFCON in his game week 21, so he's still only got, like, say, 1, 2, 3, 4 game weeks left, I still think he is a good asset to bring in just due to his explosivity and just possibly captaincy potential as well.
Yeah, let's have a look at those fixtures up until game week 21. They're so good. You couldn't really pick a much better next four anyway, so the predicted points kind of show that, right?
Yeah, they're all good fixtures for attack. I mean, Forest, Everton home, then Brighton and Bournemouth, it's just, you can't ask for much better fixtures for attack, really.
100%. Okay, so here's the team for the next game week. It's looking pretty strong. Quite a lot of home fixtures in there. What do you think?
Right, yeah, so there's a lot of scenarios that I've kind of gone through with this team, right? So obviously a lot of it depends on Haaland's fitness. Yeah. If just say, for example, HAALAND is fit, then my planned transfer from last game week was Guéhi to Porro. Yeah, and I play Porro instead of Pinnock, so I play double Arsenal defence and Porro. Obviously, then it's about HAALAND and how long he's out for. If he's only out for one game week, just say, for example, he's we know he's going to be benched or he's going to be back. It's a short-term injury. Then could possibly I'll keep HAALAND. I'll do the Porro move, and then I'll just play Pinnock. Or possibly make another defender transfer with Pinnock as well, because he's got a blank in game week 18. If HAALAND is out long term, if he's going to miss game week 17 and possibly game week 19 as well, that obviously he's got a blank in 18, so that kind of makes it, at least 3 or 4 game weeks. Then I'll probably look to sell him on, and then I'll probably look to get Solanke in for Haaland, and then either do the Guehi to Porro move, which had already transferred in, or I could even do Trent because I'll have unlimited money because with Haaland going out, I can spread those funds. So a lot of that depends. So I mean, Guehi will be leaving for either Porro or Trent, and depending on Haaland fitness, he'll either stay or go for Solanke.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Trent coming into the equation potentially, a name that we've not really heard that much this season at all. Why is that?
Well, the thing is, I've got unlimited money, and he's looking, amazing. The only thing that kind of puts me off Trent is the fixtures. They're not great. They've got Man United at home. Okay, you could say that that is a good fixture nowadays. But then Arsenal, they've got Arsenal, then they've got Burnley away, which is great. Then got Newcastle at home, and then they got Chelsea and Arsenal again, Gameweek 22, 23. So yeah, I mean, look, he's playing this new role in which he's pretty much kind of a midfielder now. But I don't know. I just still the fixtures aren't great, and I think this it kind of reminds me of the time where Trippier had those really great fixtures, went on an amazing run, just like Trent's on now, and then the fixtures got a bit tougher.
Yeah,
his scores kind of went down. I think it's a similar situation. What's going to happen with Trent here, possibly? Although I do think Trent has got a lot more kind of haul potential. He's got set pieces, corners, takes direct free kicks as well. So yeah, I guess it depends on that. But I mean, that's kind of more of a I'd say something that I'm thinking a wee bit out of the box. But I just think Porro to me really looks like an obvious transfer in. Looking at those fixtures, looking how attacking he is. He's been honestly. I've been watching a lot of Spurs games because they're the team to watch this season in terms of entertainment, and he's just always in that final third. He's taking shots. He's always getting in the box. He's crossing in. He's on corners.
Yeah,
Porro just looking great right now.
It's pretty great. I mean, yeah, this the eye test for Porro. I mean, you don't even need to look at the stats. We do know that he has a lot of shots. Obviously gets forward a lot, but the eye test is there. I can't quite believe as a non-owner like you were last week, how few points he got in that game. I feel like he could easily have got 14, 15 because he plays Son through, and it's only a poor touch from Son, which means that he then has to go over and get the penalty, as in Dubravka challenges him. Otherwise, it would have been a Porro assist. Clean sheet goes as well late
in the game.
Very unlucky for people that brought him in. Very good transfer, even for a hit. So, it looks like a very, very solid buy.
Yeah.
Are you worried at all about Gordon then? Didn't really mention him, but you think he's going to play?
Look, with Gordon, I think for me, I'm not really in that position to sell him. I mean, look, if he was out completely, if he was totally injured, red flag out for a few weeks, then I would look at him. But because it's a doubt, and I've got Haaland there, and I've got my defense to worry about, then I'm just gonna have to really just hope and pray that he does play. So, and he's got a good fixture at Fulham at home, so it is quite risky, if he's a doubt and I take him out and he ends up playing. And the thing with Eddie Howe is he's not really got much. Well, I guess he could rest Gordon because Longstaff's back now as well, and Wilson and Isaac are both fit. But he's not got many options in that position with Barnes out. So I'm hoping he's just I'm hoping Eddie Howe is just kind of forced into playing him, really, and he starts.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, with Haaland, if you do sell him, how important do you think it is to have a plan ready for him? And if it's integral, which game week do you think we have to get him back by?
I think you definitely have a plan to get him in, and it's got to be that game week 20 fixture against Sheffield United. So I think, look, you've got if he's out for the next 3, that's that's a lot of money to be sitting on the bench or in your bank. So spreading that money around for those 3 game weeks, getting 2 good premium assets, is worth it, I think. And then game week 20. Look to bring him back in for that Sheffield United fixture. But then, if he is going to be out for a few weeks, if the injury is it's a stress fracture on his bone, then it's going to be like a week by week thing. So he might not even be fit for Sheffield United. But you have to, you have to have that in the back of your head that how you're going to get him back in. Which 2 players. You're going to obviously need 2 transfers. Which two players you're going to remove for him. So I think the plan definitely has to be there, but not something concrete, because it's just going to be one of those situations where if he is out for a while, that it's just going to be so kind of fluid in terms of is he going to be fit, or is he going to come off the bench in Sheffield United? That could possibly be a case if he's out long term. So there's so much going on with Haaland just now. I hope we get a definitive answer from Pep, which I doubt, but I hope we do today or tomorrow.
I will say it does make the game interesting because he's, a lot of people were saying we're playing the game with 14 men. Captaincy, to be fair, has been up for debate quite a few weeks actually this week, which has been encouraging. But let's talk about captaincy this week then. I mean, it's going to be a struggle to captain Haaland unless you get unbelievably concrete news that he's going to start. Because even if Pep says that he's looking good or he's fit, there are still going to be doubts there probably. What are you thinking right now? If you don't get any clear information, where's your head at?
It's got to be Salah. I mean, like United have been terrible. I mean, they're going to be without Maguire as well now. No Bruno Fernandes. And look, like I was looking at the kind of the odds for Liverpool scoring goals and clean sheets, and
yes,
even the bookies markets have moved really towards United being a really, really poor side. I mean, I was looking at Rob T's graphic where he does his spread X stuff, and Liverpool are projected to score 2.6 goals, which is more than they were projected to score against Luton and Fulham. So that tells you like how bad.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it tells you how bad United are at the moment. And look, with Haaland, it's just one of those where it's just, I mean, look, very likely scenario is that we're not really going to get anything definitive from Pep. He's going to say, oh, we'll see how he reacts in training or something like that, and we'll make a decision closer to the time. So we're not really going to know, I think, unless we get a leak, pre-game, we're not really going to know whether Haaland starts or not. So it's got to be Haaland. It's got to be Salah captain for me this week.
Yeah, and we've seen him do it before as well against United. It's a fixture where we know Liverpool can do really well. Those with Darwin, is he a keep this week for that reason? He's been so disappointing. I say this as an owner myself. I realise I've actually had him for about 7 or 8 game weeks, and he has done very, very little for me. Is he a keep this week?
I mean, I would keep it for this fixture, but also you need to watch it. You need to watch the lineups for today's game.
Yeah,
Europa League. I mean, if he ends up playing 90 minutes,
man,
then then you've got to start worrying. If he gets a little cameo or half an hour appearance, then I think you're good. And I think if that is the case, I would definitely keep him for Man United at home. That's it's a great fixture. He's actually the third favourite. If Haaland is fit, then he's actually the third favourite to score at any time this week.
Wow,
behind Haaland and Salah.
Very, very good. Yeah, I will say that what you mentioned there about the bookies' chances or the bookies' odds for how many goals Liverpool are likely to score. Very, very interesting when I saw that on your timeline. Guys, if you didn't know, our Twitters are on screen. Well, Abdul's in particular. Go and follow him over there. He's got, how many followers you got? Far too many. Hundreds of thousands. But go and give him another follow. Does great stuff. As I say every week, the bookies' odds in particular are very, very interesting. I don't really see anyone else mentioning that. Okay, let's round things off, my friend, by looking at your AI recommended transfers, and you will be delighted because the AI completely agrees with what you're thinking right now. Even with the Haaland news or lack thereof, and we'll see what happens to that. It hasn't shifted the predicted points too much. I mean, it's come way down, but it's not down to 0 because we don't know if he's out or not. He's just flagged. Yeah. So he's sitting at around a 4. I mean, really, we don't know. That's why it's not as high as it normally is, 7 or 8 or even higher. But yeah, we don't know. But for that reason, he's not being recommended to be sold, as he might be fit at this stage. We don't know. Yeah. It is Gay that's recommended to be sold for Pedro Porro. Again, I guess that kind of backs up what you've been thinking, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's the second week in a row that it's agreed with mine.
It wants Porro in your team, and I'm not surprised. Yeah. I mean, we talked about the eye test and stats for him. He's just is he the key? Is he? I know he's a relatively cheap defender, but is he the form FPL player right now?
Yeah, I just think if you look at his underlying numbers, eye test and his fixtures, I think it's just a fairly obvious move now.
Yeah, absolutely, completely agree. And I wish personally that I got him in last week for a hit, but I didn't do it, which is tough. Okay then, my friend, I think that is going to do it for this game week. Obviously, we still have to wait for a lot of information, as you've been saying throughout the whole video, and that's going to affect what you do with your team. Guys, if you want to know what Abdul is going to do with his team, locked in, confirmed, then sign up to Fantasy Football Hub and you get access to his team reveal, which will be very close to the deadline. Might be extremely close, to be fair, this week, but it will be before it. And yeah, that might change up until it, but the article will be there with Abdul's confirmed moves. The deadline this week, Abdul, is 6:30. Is it, or is it 6 o'clock?
Yeah, 6:30.
6:30.
UK
Friday.
time. Yeah, UK time.
6:30 Friday. And genuinely, by making your transfers this week and having your captaincy set properly, and you'll be gaining an advantage over a lot of people. If you're watching this video, you'll be gaining an advantage. A lot of people around this period do tend to miss deadlines. Even the key managers. I think we've all been there. Have you ever missed a deadline, Abdul, in your illustrious career?
I've slept through a deadline. I've not really missed. I can't remember missing one, but I've slept through one. Yeah.
Ooh,
once.
That is embarrassing. Really, if you take this game seriously, you should never ever miss a deadline, in my opinion. Despite the fact that I've missed quite a few. Anyway, that is going to do it, my friend. Thank you as always. Very interesting to see if we can come away with some green arrows this week. Another one would be phenomenal. Another big jump to get you back.
Yes.
To where you belong. But yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Thank you as always for watching. Good luck this game week. Sign up to the site. Still 30% off and a 30-day free trial. And me and Abdul will catch you on the next one.
Thanks.